Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. In the previous video, I briefly demonstrated some features released in 2022 Business Central release Wave 1. And so in this video, I want to demonstrate some additional features I feel which is helpful and which is useful feature in this release, especially for functional consultants. So the first one I want to talk about is this set default dimensions on locations. And the environment I'm going to use to demonstrate this actually will be, this is in a Docker container, and actually my version for this version is version 21. The reason I'm using version 21, Business Central version 21 will be 2022 release Wave 2 in October. But the reason I'm using it because there are some additional features in it, especially for the Shopify connector. Okay, so the first one I want to talk about is the set default dimensions on locations. So in the previous version, on the location card, you do not have the feature to set up locations, but in this version, this feature has been added. So if you go to our location card, then you go to related dimensions, then you can set up a dimension. So what I think helpful of this feature is like, especially previously, when we implement Dynamics Nav or Business Central for retail customers, and if you have multiple stores, and these stores are in different legal entities, and then but you don't want to create the individual Business Central or Dynamics company for those stores, and you want to do it in one Business Central or Dynamics Nav company. And in this case, we usually have to use different dimensions to indicate, like even for the same location, right? So if you're on the location card, then if we can define like area, then you know like this location is for which area. And also it can define the legal entity, the ownership. For example, you may have franchising, you may have the 100% ownership, then you may have some corporation, like you have 50% ownership. So it depends on the model of your franchising for retail business. So in that case, then you can define different dimensions like area, then ownership, then legal entity. And then we can use those dimensions on the location, and you can define a store, because usually for the retail stores, each location is each store. So then it will be helpful if you have this feature. You can define the dimensions on location card. So this feature exists if you are using ChargeLogic Retail or probably iOS Retail. Then you can define the dimensions on the location card, but it's not out of box from Business Central. But this feature is added in this release, so which is helpful. And another feature I want to talk about is this Shopify Connector. Microsoft created this Shopify Connector, and Microsoft is partnered with Shopify so to provide synchronizations for the items, customers, orders between Business Central and Shopify Connector. If you look at this feature, actually it says the general availability is May 2022. Actually, if I look at my Docker container for the version 20, this feature is not available. You don't have this tab on that version, but only in this version 21, which is the 2022 release Wave 2, then you will see this tab. So so what you can do for this Shopify connector, then you have this feature is still doesn't work well because Microsoft does not have any detailed documentation for how give you an instruction walkthrough for how to set it up and how it works. There's no documentation on this yet. It's very just some very general information for the functionality for this connector. And some of people who watch my YouTube channel ever ask, like recently they asked like if this Microsoft Shopify connector is available, because the information on this release site seem to say that it's coming soon, it's included in this release, but actually it's not in the release wave 1, it's in release wave 2. So that's why in my version, Business Central version 21, we can see this tab. But if you open your Docker container, which is for Business Central version 20, you will not see this tab at all. And this still doesn't work well because we do not have a documentation from Microsoft to walk you through the process. But I did some basic setup just to see how this works, and even the connection wasn't working. And so first you have to set up your Shopify URL, and but you have to, I don't think you have to put in the admin, but if you don't put that in, you're using your regular Shopify site, not the admin portal, then when you request access, then you will see an error like this. So but when I test, because it's using the OAuth authentication, but something is missing in the setup. Not sure which setup it is, but it just because Microsoft doesn't have that documentation, it's really hard to figure that out. So what I did, I tried to put in /admin, and then when I request access, it does not give an error message, but it can link to your site, but it says there's no page at this address. So I will recommend, if you, because this feature is not released yet, and it will release not in wave 1, it will be in wave 2. So if you are a merchant who use Shopify site and you want to have some connectors with which integrate your Shopify site with Business Central, there are a bunch of apps or extensions on the app stores you can use, which is the Shopify Connector. Then even our company has our IP. We are having the channel sales manager for different e-commerce platform, like for Shopify, Amazon, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento. So you can test out those connectors. And yeah, so because this feature actually we cannot really test it yet. And so another feature I want to talk about in this release is this Excel to design the layouts for reports. So I played around with this feature. Basically, Microsoft created another, instead of the custom report layout, they created just a page called report layout. And in this report layouts page, then instead of these, on top of these types like RDLC, Word, and you can have additional type which is for Excel. And so what you can do, so right now, because I already created something for, you can click on new layout, then you can create a layout for a report you want, right? So I already created something. When you created this report layout, then you can select so on the top of RDLC Word external, then you have this option which is called Excel. So since I already created one, so I'm just gonna filter by the type Excel, then we can take a look of the one I created. So I created one for the report item sales statistics, and this one is a report ID 10135. So after you create this one, so basically what you have to do is like you have to go to that report. So this is the original report. Right now it will show in the Excel format. Now I'm just gonna restore it to whatever the default. So originally, if you go to report layout selection, then just search 10135, 1013135 is this report I'm using. So originally it's using the RDLC, okay? If it's using the RDLC layout, then when you run this report, item sales statistics, then you can see different options here. So when you send, then you can see all different options here: PDF, XML, Word, Excel, data and layout, Excel, document data only. So if you click on this Excel data and layout, it's only one tab in that report, and which shows you the data. But if you, and this name is really a little bit confusing because this data only has two tabs, and this data and layout has one tab, only show you the data. So I don't know why they name it that way, but like if you look at this is the data and layout. They only have one tab. So for me, this one should be have two tabs. One is the data, one is the metadata layout. But then it's doing it opposite. So it's doing, when you click on that report, then it only item sales statistics. So this is our report. So when you click on that data and layout, you only get one tab. But when you click on this data only, you get two tabs. One is the data, one is the report metadata. So the naming for this is a little bit odd. I don't know how Microsoft named them. If it's me, if it was me, I will name them opposite. Okay, because this one really gave you the data and the layout, right? So, but actually this one is called data only. So then anyway, so when after you exported this report, then you can do something. I already did something with the layout. So what I did, I'm just gonna give you an example instead of spending time on this. So there's this item sales statistics. This is the report I worked on. So you have these two tabs originally. You can create another tab, and on the another tab, you can insert a pivot table. For example, you can go to data, and then you insert, then you say pivot table. That's how I get here. So I insert this pivot table, and I drag the item number and also the sales amount, local currency, and then I inserted a chart like this, right, with these two columns. Now you can see a nice chart by item number and the total. You can see it in different colors. And then after you created this, you save this file, and then you can come back and then you just click on replace layout. And after you select replace layout, you click on yes and choose that file you just saved, which is this item sales statistics report. Okay, and after you save this layout, then you can specify, because you already created this as a new layout and specify as Excel layout, and then you imported this layout, right? So previously we do this in the custom report layout page. Then you can create a custom layout for the RDLC and the Word. But now for this Excel format, we have to use this report layouts instead of custom report layout. Okay, so after you did that, you go to the report layout selection. And from the report layout selection, then if you filter this report ID 10135, and then you have, instead of using the layout RDLC, then you have to change it to this Excel layout we just created. When you click on Excel, it asks you to select this layout you created. Then click on OK, you select that layout. So if you have multiple report Excel layout, then it will pop up all of them. Then you can select one. Then it will show up in the layout description. So after you select this, then now if we go back to the item sales statistic report, then you will see these options change, right? When you click on send to, you only have the XML document option and the Excel document data only, these two options. And then it gives you a different options for the download. So let's take a look for that option for the download. So if you click on the download, it just download that report. Then you open it, you should see this chart. This is what you customized for that layout in the Excel. And then if you do select that send to statistics item sales. So if you if you click on the send to Excel data only, then it also download that report. Then you can see the chart you added if you open it. Oh, actually, this one, if you select that, it didn't give you this option. But when you download it, it does give you that chart you created. So that's how you can use the Excel layout in this new release week 1. Okay, so that's for the Excel. And also there's another nice feature I found is this. So it's a general posting setup and the VAT posting setup. They have a block feature. You can see many of Business Central implementations originally when you do the financial setup, then you may end up like you have something you created at the beginning, but then after you work on Dynamics Nav or Business Central for a while, then you find you have those set up wrong. You have those set up incorrectly. For example, you want to rename or you want to create a new business posting group, and you don't want to use that old one anymore because that's not supposed to be, you don't want to use that. But actually, you initially when you implement Business Central, you set it up incorrectly, because you don't at that time you don't even understand what is the general business posting group yet. So same for the general product posting group. You may created some general product posting group when you implement it, and after you use it for a while, then you found your understanding is incorrect, and you should create some other general product posting group and stop using the old one, right? And then if you did that, then but you already created some you already post the general ledger entries to those GL account you defined for those combinations, then in Business Central you cannot delete. If you already have general ledger entries, you cannot delete those combinations anymore. So what you can do, but this new feature is like give you this blocked feature, even you have general ledger entries created on those old combination of general business posting group and the general product posting group, then you can block that, and then to stop user continue to use those combination to post, to stop them from making mistake. So this block will work that way. Okay, so I think that this is a nice feature. And another feature I want to talk about is this Power Automate. So this Power Automate is everywhere now in this after this release. So originally, if you are on Business Central, let me go to my Business Central. So this is my Business Central SaaS tenant, and this is still on the old version. So it's still on old version 19.5. So in this version, if you go to when you go to a document like a sales document or purchase document, then if you go there, then you will be able to see something for the flow. Just need to find out where it's nested under. So it will give you the option like you can, yeah, so it's under request approval. Then you can see create a flow and see my flows, okay? And but this version, and for this new release, and Microsoft added it to almost all the main entities like customers, vendors, items. Then you can see there's a automate groups has been added, and from there you can see create a flow, manage flows. So you don't only see it under the documents anymore. So then let's go back to this Business Central version. This is the version 21, which is even in the future. Okay, so in this version, if you go to a customers list or vendor list or item list, and from there, then you can see more options. Then you can see automate, right? Power Automate. But because I'm on the Docker container, and this Docker container is not connected to any Azure account, so I have to authorize Azure services. Then I won't be able to show you. But like Microsoft added that to all these major entities like vendors, you also see that on the vendors as well. And so you can see the Power Automate. Let's see, where is it? So here, Automate here. Okay, and also items. You can see it almost everywhere in Business Central now. Okay, so this is a great improvement. I cannot demonstrate to you because my Business Central SaaS tenant hasn't been upgraded to the version 20 yet. Okay, so another feature I want to talk about is this fan entries. If you started very early with Dynamics Nav, you will see this in a very old version like of Nav, like even in the classic clients, we have this fan entries feature. Even in the classic clients, like before Dynamics Nav 2009, you have this fan entries feature in those versions. But then in the later version, we don't see this. Anymore. And then Microsoft added it back again in this release. It's in the role center of Business Central SaaS. In this release, it added back into the role center. And by using this find entries, then you can find the document number, and then by posting date. So if I'm I'm trying to find something, but today for sure it will not have, because I didn't post anything yet for today. But then if you have a document number or something in mind, maybe let's find the document number so we can find. So let's use this document number. Okay, so let's use this document number and try to see if we can find this document number. So let's go back to here and find entries and put in this document number and find. So then we can see this order. So this is kind of on your row center, and it's across every pages and every document in your Business Central. If you want to find a document by posting date and by external document number, then you will be able to see it. Okay, then you can navigate to that document. So this is a nice feature, like a global searching feature, but this does exist in the old classic client though. And another feature I want to talk about is this consolidate customer and vendor balances. So this consolidate customer and vendor balances is because for many of the businesses, their vendors at the same time is their customers as well. So then the ARAP, actually some of them can be offset, and then they only need to pay the balance after they have been offset, right? So when you run the payment journal, then it should only be whatever left for the amount difference between the ARAP for the same client, then should be show up there. So how can you create a customer and vendor? So if you go to a customer on the customer card, then you can see there's a balance as vendor as well, right? So actually, if you go to the contact, so we can go to the person tab of the contact, then because this contact does not show in the system as a vendor contact yet. So what I can do, I can create a vendor contact for it. I can go to actions, functions, and say create as. Right now I'm on the customer card, it's a customer contact, but I want to create it as a vendor contact as well. Then I can say create a vendor contact. So then it just to create a vendor card for this contact. So now if I go to my vendor card, so let's go to my vendor card, then we should be able to see. So that's we see this corporation this is the Adam corporation, and this vendor card has been created, but actually it was created from this customer contact, right? This vendor does not exist before. So now if you have any invoices, like the posted sales invoices, and also you have some posted purchase invoices, actually the balance can offset each other. Then when you run a payment journal, it should be like whatever is net, then should be show up in your payment journal. Okay, so yeah, that's a good way for consolidate if the client is both your customer and vendor. And another feature I want to talk about is under the help. So under the help, so if you go to the help and support, there's a new feature added for analyze performance. This is an in-client performance analyzer. So if you have any apps installed and you found your Business Central is really slow, but you have no idea where the slowness is coming from, then you can start the activities, and then just do your activities and start this performance profiler. So then you can do, like, if I go to create a sales order, but when I do the sales order entry, it's really slow, then I can just track it. I can create a sales order and put in the customer name and then enter the line and to see where it slows it down. So then I can select the item, then put in the location and put in the quantity, and then we can post this sales order, right? So if that's your regular process, but previously when you do that, it was really slow, then you can track that process from this in-client performance profiler, and then after you did it, you post it, then you can just stop this, and then it will show you the call stacks and everything. So let me see. Okay, let's just click on no here. then let's stop this. Okay, so when you stop this, and it shows you, so if you want to see those technical information, then you can show, but right now it's off, right? But you can show the technical information, then it will tell you like exactly code unit is running, table is running, all the objects it was running, and then you can see the duration when it ran each object. Then you could see which one slows it down, right? So the total time for this table, sales header table, and then you can see the code unit time spent for this code unit. So then you can really track to whichever the code unit and the process which slows it down. So this is another very nice feature on this release. Yeah, so basically there's many good features, and I think in this release, Microsoft also did some improvement on the jobs. Jobs is in Business Central is to manage your projects. So they separated sell to and bill to on the job cards, and so previously on the jobs you can only the job to and step to is the same. So there's the Business Central sell to bill to concept for the regular sales order was not on the jobs, but now they applied the same concept for the sell to and bill to and apply to the jobs. So that's another nice feature, and also they have many improvements for the DataWorks Dynamics 365 sales integration with Business Central as well. Like so previously, like when you do when the DataWorks track the tables, it only tracked the changes for the actual tables, but now it can track some temp tables, which is the virtual tables. So if there's any changes for the virtual tables, and DataWorks can also check it. So there's yeah, so I think there's many improvement for this release, and the ones I talk about in this session, in this video, is the ones like I think it's a big improvement. Okay, thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. I hope to see you guys again next time.